And welcome to part 13 of the getting into the basics of Unity and Unity C#. When we left off, we created this lovely beginner state machine. And now we're going to add a little functionality to it. So let's open up our script. So inside our state machine, we might want a couple of things to make our enemy move. So we know that we would want speed. So let's make public float speed, and let's make it equal to, I don't know, 0.5 f, because it is a float, so that we do need that f over there. Remember that, guys. And I'm going to hit enter, and then we'll need something like distance, so we can do actually two types of distances. I think that'd be pretty cool. And we do public float, and this will be a look or go to distance. Go to distance. And we'll make this equal to, let's say, 13. And let's make another one called public so that you can use it in inspector, and float, and let's make this attack distance. And let's make this equal to, I don't know, guys, let's say 4.5, that seems, or just 4, that seems like about right. And then we're going to do, what else? We're going to have a target, so we're going to do a public transform, and this will be our player target. And then we're going to go into, and we're going to make another public, and we're going to make this a string. And the reason why is because we're going to find the player using the tag identifier. So we're going to go string, and we're going to type in a player tag. And doing Unity so long, I can go, and I know that one of the preset tags is player, so I can just do that. I can just type in player as I'm the developer, and I'll say, well, we already have player inside the inspector, so anyone using the script will already have that tag in there. And then we are pretty much done. Let's be done for right now. So let's hit save, and let's go into our start void. And as a void doesn't return anything, I've mentioned that it's like a black hole. And what we need to do is change this to an IEnumerator. And what does that mean? That means it runs constantly. Not an IEnumerator doesn't. You can start an IEnumerator from, let's say, any void or any script, but the start IEnumerator starts when the code starts and used for initialization. So with that, well, let's change this to an enumerator. And let's change this IEnumerator, not enumerable enumerator, and supports a single over a non-generic collection. Doesn't tell you a whole lot, but I just explained it to you. And here, and the reason why this is a squiggly line is because it has to return a value. So we can do something called while true, and that will set it this while true. So a while loop does something as a condition is met. So while true, meaning that the script is enabled. Otherwise, it might continue with the script being not enabled, and that will be bad. So let's put our little brackets, since it is like an if statement. And now we're going to get a little bit into our coroutine. State machine, not coroutine. Coroutine is something different. We're creating a state machine. So to do that, we need a switch, right? So if I'm typing in switch, it'll be something that's constantly switching, and we put our little braces or parentheses there. And what is our switch? What switches? Our variable called cur state, So this is what cycles through this, right? We saw this inside the inspector. We said, okay, well, this is what goes through all the states. So that is our switch. And what does our switch do? Well, we need another set of brackets, since it's kind of like an if statement, because it says if this, then that, if this, then that. And the way to symbolize that in code is case, meaning what case are we in? And we're going to do state dot look for, and we're going to do a colon. And what are we going to do if our case is met? We're going to call a void called look for. So let's go underneath our update. And actually, we can take this away, because that's the beauty of having an enumerator. We don't need an update function. We're going to do a void, and we're going to call it look for, in braces. And then we're going to add another void and call it go to. And then we're going to have another one called void attack. And those will be what we're calling. So this is where we're going to put our conditions for the switches. But if it's in look for, what are we calling? We're calling the look for void. So this is something that, you know, took me a while to get, so I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. And so hopefully, you know, that will go over smoothly. So we're going to have another case, and we're going to do case, and we're going to do state dot go to, and we're going to do the colon again, and we're going to do look, or we're going to do go to, like so, the colon here. And the reason why we're getting these squiggly lines is because we're not adding the keyword break, which simply means we're ending this loop. And what does that mean exactly? Well, if I had more voids here, so let's say I had this, and then I had another one, and then I typed in break, all right, that would call these two voids when this is true. And we only want one, and that's how we define that. So we're going to put break here as well. And as you see, the squiggly line does go away. And we're going to do another thing called case state dot attack, and our colon there, and we're going to do attack, and our parentheses, since we're not passing anything through it, our semicolon, and break. So with that, we have our switches set up. And if you don't believe me, let's test this out. We're going to go into our look for, and we're going to do a print, and we're going to do just a hi, we are in look for. And this print with parentheses just calls out when it's in the function. So you'll see how that looks. It'll open up in the console. So we can just copy this, and we can hit enter here, and we can do hi, we are in go to, hi, we are in attack. And before you even test it out, I suggest that you do one thing, because it does, the IR enumerator just have to return something. If it doesn't, it'll just continue adding up, and it'll switch through these constantly, and it will crash your computer. So the way to get out of that is just return a anything. Well, and I'm going to return a 0, so yield, because it has to yield because it's an IR enumerator, and that's what you just need to return, and then 0. And then semicolon. And the reason why you need yield, there's a specific reason, but I'm not going to go too far into it and confuse everybody. You just need this at the end of your enumerator, or at the end of your while statement. So this is our switch, and this is our while right here. And I'm going to save this off, and I'm going to go into our Unity, and I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to grab my console here, and as I go to attack, goes to attack, and when I go, or go to, goes to go to, and when I go to attack, it goes to attack. And basically now we can say, you know, we're in look for, and then switch to here, and then this will happen, and then this will happen. And that's a really nice way of doing AI. So that is it for part 12. See us in part 13, where we go and attack our look for function.